Thanks so much for joining me. This is Dating with Katy, and we will be talking about the three kinds of men who are out there dating. Ladies, you're going to want to listen in because you need to figure out why is it you're choosing what you're choosing, and are you really choosing the good guy? So we're going to talk about that today. I also want to thank my sponsor, Sync Matchmaking. That's CINQE. And if you like this stuff, guys, please subscribe, give me a little heart back, and send it to a single friend. Let's make dating great again. All right. So speaking of men, you guys know that I am pro good guy. I am on the team of the good guy, and I'm going to explain what that looks like out in dating. So often I think women get confused about behavior versus character qualities. And I'm going to use my client as an example today. Now, I do a lot of coaching with women that are really choosing the bad guy, choosing the guy who is not quality for them. And at this point, they're distraught. They think it's them, which it is. There's some deeper issues, and I'm no therapist by any means. But I'm a good enough coach to let them know what they're doing wrong and how to fix it. Like, I'm going to make you do drills all day long because that's how you're going to get better, right? I always think of myself like a basketball coach. And yes, I have a really good three-point shot. By the way, I will take anybody on in PIG any day. So let's talk about this. I have this very successful female lawyer. She is 38, so she's hungry to get married, looking to make that move next. But she keeps picking men that are unavailable. Men that are not quality, men that are even mean to her. And of course, looking from the outside, we can all say, oh my gosh, why would she even date that guy? Yet, maybe we all have that story of that guy that we dated who's just like it. And I have that story as well. So early on in my dating, after I got divorced with my 3 little kids, and I dated the guy that seemed secure, and he was a total jerk. Yelled at me. He was a functioning alcoholic. Was friends with strippers. I mean, Katy, you can do way better than that, and I have. But I learned. It was my lesson. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So let me explain the 3 guys that she dated now. She has a practice, a successful practice in Beverly Hills. Beautiful girl. But these are the 3 guys that she dated. The first guy was a lawyer, all right? And she was telling me, and these are her little stories, she was telling me about how she was at a place in her life where she was depressed. But he was so nice. He wasn't that attractive. Okay, but he was really into yoga. He was very unmotivated in life. He got a lot of money from his parents in a trust. So even though he was a lawyer, he didn't really work that much, where she works her buns off, really building her practice and her career. And he'd send her texts in the morning like, I hope you find light and love today. He hangs out with his parents a lot still. So he was basically a man boy, right? So lawyer is man boy. We'll just call him lawyer man boy. Now, then she ends up dating this charming doctor. And it's interesting. We work with a lot of doctors for matchmaking, and doctors do really well with other doctors. It's a difficult career. It's hard for them to really have time. But we have found that doctors who date doctors, it goes well. So she finds a doctor, and he's charming, and he's kind, and he lives in New York. It's dreamy. He takes her to weekends in Connecticut. He would surprise me with presents and trips to the Hamptons. 3 months in, she realizes he is a straight-out alcoholic, and he'd get mean and moody, and he kicked her out, literally kicked her out one day. And he used to say to her things like, this is how girlfriends die. I mean, who would even stay with anybody like that? And he'd go silent for days, okay? So that's charming doctor. And if you haven't watched, I'm going to talk about my 3-3-3 rule real quick. Give a guy 3 weeks, 3 dates, 3 months, but each one of those, really important to assess the situation and decide moving on or moving not. An example here, 3 months in, that's where you see someone's true colors. They should be coming out by then. So here's guy number 3, stuntman. Ooh, stuntman, LA living. So she said the sex was incredible. He was very wealthy. He was probably the best looking, amazing dresser, but he was a recluse. He had no connection with people, no connection with his family, with his children. He had opted out. He was arrogant. And yet this one is the one she'd break up with and go back to, break up with and go back to. And so we have 3 very different men, yet at the same time, none of them were the quality that I want my clients and I want my followers to be with. And if you haven't listened to that podcast, go listen to The Dater's Dilemma, because I talk about how you want a cool quality and a ready person. So of these 3 men, let's talk about men in general. Now, I am a very pro-man person. As a matter of fact, most of my followers are men because I know how hard they work to provide, to protect, to listen. The good guy is doing all those things. And I know you women are like, oh, all men are the same. They're not. Stop saying it. In your little bubble of a mind, it is. But maybe break the record, put on a new record, and get a new song in that head. Because you're picking the wrong guys. So the three kinds of men today that we're going to talk about, we've got the beta, and then we've got two kinds of alphas. And I'm going to speak specifically about the alphas. Now let's cover the betas. Typically, my followers are going to be strong, sophisticated, successful people, or they're on their way up and they're really pursuing those kinds of character qualities. They really have deep core values. They know what they want in life. They're a little bit more clear-headed. And if that's not you, let's get you there. But the beta is the guy who's a little soft-spoken. He was kind of like the lawyer in this one. You know, the yogi lawyer. Doesn't work real hard, but he's happy with his life. So that's a bonus. But as a woman who's out there working hard, raising her kids, maybe single mom, maybe you're CEO, maybe you're entrepreneur, you kind of want that energy equal, right? Masculine, feminine, energy equal of business, provision, finances. And so the yogi beta is not going to be your best. I'd also liken it to somebody, a great guy that works at a grocery store. Maybe just not a go-getter, loves to camp. Hey, I love to camp too, but not really driven in that sense. So the beta is just going to be the guy who's happy with his life, nice guy, but not driven. And for most of my females, that is not going to be a good fit. It might be an easy fit. It might be a comfortable fit. He might be really attentive to you. But ultimately, your energies are just not going to be equal because you are this driven woman who really values career, success, motivation, high energy, and you want that in a partner. Now, it doesn't have to look exactly the same. Obviously, I am high energy and highly motivated. I don't make nearly as much money as some of my partners have made in the past. I mean, those guys are badasses, but I'm learning from them, and what they love is just my energy and motivation to do well in life, no matter what the number looks like. So if you've gone out with a beta, you know that they're good guys. They're nice, but they're a little too passive for you. So, no harm, no foul. We like the beta guy. There is a woman out there who is just equally his energy level. But for you, my listeners, I know you, and I know that you like the alpha male. This is, every woman likes the alpha male, but it's the alpha female that particularly finds her equal in the alpha male. But let's talk about the alpha male. Now, let me remind you, ladies, that you always tell me that this is the kind of guy you want. Katy, every description that I get in my database from women, they all say the same thing. Well, I want a man who's driven, family oriented, makes good money, because women want safety. They want provision, and they want a man who provides. And that's fair. It's been like that for thousands of years. Nothing has changed. And yes, we can go make our own money, but we still want a man who makes as much money as us or more. And every time you speak about this alpha male, can I remind you that while he's working his buns off, for him to get to the place where he is successful, he's had to have some character qualities that maybe aren't so beautiful in a relationship. I mean, I dated a guy who was CEO of a big company, but he'd bring his CEO mentality back into our relationship. So he was bossy, he was rude, he would yell at me to get things done because, well, if it works over here in my CEO life, I'm going to use it over here in my relationship life. And there's a transition that wasn't made for him in the reality of, if you want to have a girlfriend, if you want to be in a relationship, if you're going to have a wife and kids, you can't treat them the same way you treat people at work and where you're amazing, because that's not going to work out. But not all these guys have really recognized that. They haven't really connected those two dots yet. So sometimes you have to be a little bit soft with them about it. You have to really teach them and help them connect with that energy level that they bring home. Ladies, it's the same for you. Some of you are these alpha females. You're at work, you're badass, you're boss babe. And you come home and you kind of stay in that, and you boss your man around, you nag at him, you can't get into your feminine. So in that transition of boss babe, CEO guy, whatever it is, you've got to learn to transition out some of your character qualities into relationship. Relationship Katy looks a little bit different than, dating with Katy. So keep that in mind. The things that make me successful over here at dating with Katy are not going to be successful sometimes over here in relationship Katy. So of all those things that you really like, some of those things are going to transfer back into the relationship. So keep that in mind. But this is where the two alphas really are different. And you've got the alpha asshole and you've got the alpha awesome. And of course, I use that for alliteration purposes. I do that often just for my own memory. But let's talk about the first one, the a-hole. All right. He is that gregarious guy, and we've probably all dated him. He walks into a room, he owns it. He knows the manager of the restaurant. They're like, hey, what's up? He's fun, he's lively, he talks a good game, he does well in life. But at the same time, he is not, if he's like that with you, he's like that with everybody. So you need to be mindful of that. He's sitting in first class, and guess what? He's flirty with you, but he's flirty with the flight attendant. He is, a great guy with all his friends, but he wants to spend time with all his friends and he wants to spend time with you. So it's going to be divided. This guy is the guy who will go make more money, but never have time for you. He's the guy who will send you a random text, but he never makes a plan with you. And you still like him. You still think he's so great. But mind you, he is not the good guy. That alpha is not the alpha that is going to care about you. When you get sick and go to a hospital, is he going to show up? No. He maybe will send flowers. Maybe. But he is not the guy that you want to keep by your side for a great quality relationship. What you want is the alpha awesome. I know this is the hard part for you ladies, though, is because you think the alpha awesome is a beta. He's like in disguise. So let me explain this. He walks in a room. He's very confident in his skill set. He knows what he does at work. He doesn't need to show it off. He doesn't need to wear head to toe Gucci. He doesn't need to drive in the biggest, latest fancy car. He doesn't have to scream and shout and tell everybody what he's done and what he's sold and how great he is. He doesn't have to tell people about his LinkedIn. He just shows up in his quiet, confident self. And you think he's a beta. And that's where the problem lies. He's not a beta. He's the alpha awesome. He's the man who's got your back. He's the man who cares. He's the man who shows up, whose quality skill set from work of being on time, being punctual, being thoughtful, being the guy that can get stuff done at work. He's highly successful there. He transfers that back into your relationship, and it's a benefit to you. It is a full benefit. He knows how to manage people at work. He knows how to speak with you when you're in your relationship. He cares about the people at work. He cares about you. He is not a beta. He is the alpha awesome, and he is what I call the good guy. He is what you want to be with, ladies. This is super important. You need to understand and how to distinguish that alpha awesome between the alpha a-hole, right? So don't dismiss every guy and think they're all the same. That is a big problem that I see in the female community right now. Katy, they're all like this. No, they're not. Stop with these blanket statements. And guys, same thing. Women, not all women are crazy. There's quite a few that are, but let's really keep the focus on choosing your core qualities, your core values in somebody that you're looking for so that you can pick the best guy for you, ladies. All right. And men, if you agree, give me a like. Ladies, if you are going to work on this, give me a like. I need you guys to subscribe and send this to one of your single friends. Thank you to Sync Matchmaking. Make sure that you go check out their website. It's cinque.com. They're trusted, proven, and they help you hand select perfect matches. Guys, join the network, get in the database. You'll be in good hands with Sync Matchmaking. Thanks, you guys, and cheers to great dating.